3,500 more homes has been approved to be built in the villages. A man arrested at Lake Sumter Landing after a golf cart crash. Traffic was snarled on the southern end of the villages for hours after an early morning crash. Another $1 million home is listed for sale in the villages. ICE slaps a hold on a Guatemalan speeding driver. New York drivers are at it again. The Villages ranks number 1 in jobs and wage growth among small cities. Walmart and Hooters to bring more traffic to an already overburdened area of the Villages. Quite a few updates today. How many holes in ones of golf did we get? Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. Thanks for coming to the news this Friday, everybody. For more exciting news
from Florida's friendliest hometown.
So we got quite a few updates this week. Let's get to them and get them out of the way. A Bellevue man has been sentenced to 12 years in prison in a 2023 crash that claimed the life of a grandmother in the Villages. Gerald Antonio Palamba, 57 in Bellevue, was sentenced Wednesday in Marion County Court after pleading no contest to a charge of DUI manslaughter. Lisa Marie Kyler, 56, had been driving a Chevy van on October 2023 on Bell Mead Circle near Mulberry Grove Plaza when her van was hit by a motorcycle ridden by Palamba. Reports at the time said Palamba ran a red light and crashed into the van, which had a green light. Kyler had been traveling with her 8-year-old granddaughter, who was not seriously injured. Kyler was transported by ambulance to UF Health Spanish Plains Hospital in the Villages. She died there from injuries suffered in the crash. Update number 1. A Minnesota woman has served 50 days in jail after hitting a villager with her shoe. Janice Dubois, 67, of 50 Lakes, Minnesota, was released Tuesday from the Sumter County Detention Center, where she had been lodged since December 16th arrest. She appeared in Sumter County Court on Tuesday and pleaded no contest in the case. She was sentenced to 50 days in jail with credit for 50 days already served and placed on probation for 1 year. That'll be update number 2. An 84-year-old villager with the reputation as a bad landlord has won a break in a criminal case he is facing. Yosef El Masri, who owns a home in Villa Vera Cruz in the village of Santo Domingo, has been facing a felony charge of burglary following his arrest in December by the Fruitland Park Police Department. However, this past month, the charge was reduced to a misdemeanor. A pretrial conference in his case is set for February 20 in Lake County Court. And here's another update. If you guys have been following my news, all these pictures of these people are very familiar to you. And this is the latest of what's been going on. A notorious hoarder in the Villages who had been accused of threatening his mother's life got a haircut upon his arrival at state prison. Jeffrey Charles Packard, 37, who lived for many years with his mother in the village of Sunset Point, was processed Thursday by the Florida Department of Corrections. He is currently housed at the Central Florida Reception Center in Orlando, where he will be evaluated and determinations will be made as to where he will serve his sentence. This one here is fairly recent. A villager's teen daughter has been in a fracas at the Lighthouse Point Bar and Grill at Lake Sumter Landing. Nicole Irene Toole, 19, who lives at 305 Catherine Place in the Catherine Villas in the village of Caroline, pleaded no contest this past week in Sumter County Court to a charge of battery. She was placed on probation for 1 year and ordered to pay $885 in fines and court costs. A grandson who has long been a problem child in the Villages has been sentenced for deliberately damaging a gate. John David Newell, 27, who resides at 1701 Hilton Head Boulevard on the historic side of the Villages, pleaded no contest this past week in Lake County Court to criminal charges, mischief, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He has been placed on probation for 1 year. And here's another one, pretty recent. A roofer charged with initially damaging a villager's home has entered a plea in a criminal case. Gerardo Gonzalez Jr., 51, of Mount Dora, has pleaded not guilty in Sumter County Court to a charge of criminal mischief. And that'll be an interesting case to follow. And this is fairly recent, but probably the most tragic of all of them. Whoever caused the crash that killed 39-year-old Joe Law of Oxford and seriously injured his daughter remains on the loose. The Florida Highway Patrol is still searching for the dark-colored sport utility vehicle that caused the horrific January 17 crash and fire that destroyed Law's truck. He died at a local hospital from injuries suffered in the crash of subsequent fire. His 16-year-old daughter, Braylee, was intubated and put on a ventilator at UF Health Shands Hospital in Gainesville, where she was taken for emergency treatment after the accident. An Inverness man in another vehicle was also injured. They'll find you. Whoever caused this, they will find you. They will hunt you down. A villager has been sentenced in the theft of beer and food at Walmart. Dennis William Boyd, 73, of the village of Pine Ridge, has been placed on probation for 6 months after pleading no contest to 3 charges of shoplifting this past week in Sumter County Court. Okay, I think that's it for all the updates. Let's get on with some news. Let's have some more news. A new report ranks the villages first in job growth, first in wage growth, and 11th in overall economic performance among 203 small cities across the United States. A Milken Institute published its report of the 2025 best performing cities of January 14. The report recognizes 403 metropolitan areas that are divided into large and small cities and ranked into 5 separate tiers. Overall, the villages ranked 11th in 2025, 10th in 2024, and 4th in 2023. However, from 2018 to 2023, the villages ranked first in job growth and first in wage growth. In 2023, the community ranked 3rd in job growth, 4th in broadband access, and 24th in housing affordability. According to the Institute, Tier 1 small cities saw employment grow faster than their Tier 1 large city counterparts. This was largely due to the extraordinary job growth in a few small Tier 1 metropolitan areas, such as Midland, Texas, Gainesville, Georgia, and the Villages, Florida. The report also notes that the Villages ranked last, 203rd, in the community resilience, which is inversely proportional to the community's ability to withstand or recover from natural disasters. According to the Institute, the 2025 index measured 13 metrics across 3 categories: labor market performance, high-tech impact, and access to economic opportunities. This year's index is largely based on data from 2023, which is the most recent year of data availability. In 2023, the labor market added over 2.8 million jobs across metropolitan areas, accounting for 88.2% of all new jobs in the country. The 2025 report ranked Gainesville, Georgia, as the best performing small city. The Villages was the only small city from Florida that ranked in the top 30 of the list, with other Florida cities including Punta Gorda, which is 35th, Sebastian Vero Beach, which is 49th, Panama City, which is 73rd, and Homosassa Springs, which is 169th. Among the top performing large cities on the list was nearby Ocala, which ranked 36th out of 200. Another 3,500 homes are headed for the villages of Southern Oaks. Special Magistrate Lindsay C.T. Holt recommended approval of a site plan for a 968-acre property at a meeting Tuesday of the Wildwood Planning and Zoning Board. The City Commission may consider the plan later this month. The land is located about a mile south of County Road 470 and 1.25 miles east of Southeast 34th Way. Open space, retention ponds, wetland preserves, and non-residential areas are referenced on the site plan, but specific details about golf courses and other amenities are not included. The project is part of the massive Villages of Southern Oaks, which eventually will extend south to the city limits of Center Hill, which is as far south as Bushnell. Wildwood has authorized construction of nearly 50,000 homes south of State Road 44, which will nearly double the size of the Villages when completed. So if you just take those numbers on an average, we have approximately 140,000 people living here now, and it's going to double the size. So the 250,000 residents that's been predicted all this time, that tells me that we're already up to 280,000 people, and who knows how far it'll go after that. A villager landed back behind bars after violating a court order. Kevin Bear, 68, who lives in Villa de la Mesa, was booked early Thursday at the Sumter County Detention Center. He had been arrested last year after a disturbance at his home. Last week in Sumter County Court, Bear pleaded no contest to charges of battery on a person over the age of 65, false imprisonment, and resisting arrest. He was placed on probation for 3 years, ordered to perform 60 hours of community service as part of a plea agreement. He was prohibited from having contact with the woman he attacked. At the time of his arrest last year, a woman who said she was terrified sought refuge at a neighbor's home. She was interviewed at the neighbor's home and said Bear attacked her. When deputies arrived at the home, he was uncooperative and had to be threatened with a taser. The report didn't identify Bear's relationship with the woman who was attacked. However, following that disturbance, his wife filed for divorce. A Village of Belvedere man landed back behind bars after violating his probation. Brian Jamie Bowers, 47, who lives at 2837 Grant Way in the Village of Belvedere, was being held without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center after his arrest Thursday night. Bowers was originally arrested on April 17th when he was caught riding a beige-colored moped eastbound on County Road 466 when he made a turn into Belvedere Boulevard, according to the arrest report for the Sumter County's Sheriff's Office. A deputy noticed the moped did not have a license plate and it had been traveling on a public highway. During a traffic stop, the deputy learned that Bowers does not have a valid driver's license. Bowers was restless and was sweating profusely. In addition, his pupils were dilated. The Indiana native was in possession of 0.8 grams of a white cake-like substance believed to be cocaine. Bowers struggled through field sobriety exercises. He provided breath samples that registered .000. He provided a urine sample upon request. He was arrested on charges of possession of cocaine, driving under the influence, and operating a motorcycle without a license. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was apprehended on US 301 in Wildwood. Leon Arellano Arzate, name will be in the picture, 31 of Bushnell, was driving a white Chevrolet Impala south of US 301 at State Road 44 when an officer ran the license plate number and discovered the vehicle's registered owner did not possess a driver's license, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. During the traffic stop, Arellano presented the officer with a Mexican identification card and a notice to appear previously given to him by Customs and Border Patrol. That makes him here legally, I believe. The officer confirmed that Arellano has never been issued a driver's license in the United States. He was arrested on a charge of operating a motor vehicle without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $150 bond. Yeah, I do believe that makes him here legally. A villager driving a golf cart was arrested after a crash at Lake Sumter Landing. Howard Raymond Shiren, 74, the Village of Caroline, was driving a golf cart at about 7 p.m. Sunday when he rear-ended a woman driving a golf cart who had slowed for a pedestrian to cross in front of her, according to the arrest report from Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The woman had an aluminum walker on the back of her golf cart and it was damaged in the crash. A retired New York police officer was at the scene, and when a deputy arrived, the former police officer advised the deputy that he suspected. The deputy asked what had aroused his suspicion. "Just talk to him and you will see," he told the deputy. When the deputy spoke to Shiram, who also happens to be from New York, the deputy could also smell the odor of an alcoholic beverage emanating from Shiram's breath. He said he had consumed 2 or 3 beers. He agreed to take part in the field sobriety exercises. He provided breath samples that registered .104, .105 blood alcohol content. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. An early morning crash snarled traffic Tuesday on Marsh Bend Trail in the southern end of the Villages. The 2-vehicle crash occurred at about 7 a.m. near Villages Public Safety Department Station 48 at Marsh Bend Trail and County Road 470, according to the preliminary information from the Wildwood Police Department. No injuries were reported, however, traffic was heavy in the area, including on Central Parkway. Traffic around here in the wintertime is heavy everywhere. A woman who has been classified as a habitual offender was arrested at the entrance to Spanish Springs. The name will be in the picture. We'll call her Joy. 27 of Silver Springs was driving a black Mitsubishi shortly before 10 p.m. Friday when she ran a red light on U.S. Highway 27 and 441, according to the arrest report from Lady Lake Police Department. A traffic stop was initiated at U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and Main Street, which is the main entrance to Spanish Springs. A computer check revealed that Joy had been classified as a habitual traffic offender on January 27th. She will be classified as a habitual offender for 5 years. She was arrested on a felony charge of driving while license suspended. She was booked at the Lake County Jail on a $2,500 bond. A home in the village has tooted a waterfront view and a tiki bar has been listed for $1.125 million. The 3-bedroom, 2-bath home is located at 2054 Vision Court in the village of Hillsboro. Might be my neighbor back there, I don't know. In the villages, people come and people go. The home featured a solar-heated pool and spa. A notable feature is a $60,000 Tahiti Tiki hut bar and grill. The new birdcage comes with a 5-year warranty. The recently remodeled kitchen by Doc's Restoration is billed as a true showstopper. It features sleek quartz countertops, a double oven, a farmhouse sink, and stainless steel appliances. The home originally sold in 2013 for $352,000. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has slapped a hold on a Guatemalan caught speeding on the Florida Turnpike in Sumter County. Mario Perez, 32, of Chamblee, Georgia, was driving a black Ford Explorer at about 3 a.m. Monday, traveling northbound near the Okahumpka Service Plaza, traveling at 85 miles per hour in a 70 miles per hour zone, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. Well, out there on the interstate, that's almost normal. During a traffic stop, the officer found that Perez could not speak English. Perez handed the officer an identification card from Guatemala. Using a translation app, the officer learned that Perez has been living in the United States for 8 years, but never obtained a driver's license in this country. Perez was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was being held without bond, awaiting pickup by ICE. A reckless driver was arrested on a drunk driving charge after a traffic stop on the historic side of the villages. Officers got word of a white truck with a utility box committing reckless traffic violations near South U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and Lake Ella Road around 9:40 p.m. Friday, according to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. The caller stated the driver of the truck, later identified as 34-year-old Adrian Klink of Lady Lake, was speeding, braking in the middle of the roadway, swerving and leaning out the window. The vehicle almost crashed at U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and County Road 466. One of the officers spotted a truck headed north from the traffic light at Fennell Boulevard and U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and was able to get directly behind it in the middle lane of Rolling Acres Road for the red light traffic signal. He confirmed the Florida license plate attached to the white Ford truck and utility box for the bed. When the signal turned green, the vehicle was first in line and left aggressively. The officer sped up with the vehicle and maintained 61 miles per hour for about 4 seconds. The vehicle was not steady in the lane, the report said. The officer turned on his red and blue patrol lights along with the chirp from the siren. The vehicle sharply moved to the right lane and the tires on the right side hit the curb. The vehicle then turned into Circle K at La Grande Boulevard and stopped. The officer approached Klink and explained the reason for the stop and asked for the driver's license. Klink told him that he did not have a driver's license, instead offered to hand him his New York identification card. While at the driver's window, the officer could smell the odor of alcoholic beverage coming from within the vehicle. He asked Klink to give him the identification card, but he took an excessive amount of time to find it in his wallet. He was also distracted while searching, the report said. The officer went back to his vehicle and requested any information for the driver's license for Klink through Lake County Dispatch. He was informed that Klink had a revoked license from New York State and no other vehicle license. He subsequently went back to Klink and asked him to step out of the vehicle, the report said. As Klink stood in front of the officer's patrol vehicle, the officer saw him stumble and be unsteady on his feet. The officer informed him that he did not have a valid driver's license and would be arrested for driving without one. He also told him that he believed he had been drinking alcohol and asked him to participate in field sobriety exercises. Klink refused to do any exercises and stated to the officer that he did not have a reason to pull him over. However, an empty Budweiser can and a small 1-ounce liquor bottle were in plain sight inside the vehicle. He later refused to submit a breath test as well. Additionally, a criminal history check from New York showed Klink was arrested on DUI and driving while license suspended, revoked in 2012, 2014, and 2016 in Syracuse and Solvay. The disposition showed guilty for all of these arrests. Klink was ultimately charged with driving while license suspended or revoked, second or subsequent offense, and DUI, third offense outside of 10 years. He was also issued a citation for speeding. He was transported to the Lady Lake jail and released after posting a $6,000 bond. Well, look at here. Here's another one from New York. Hey, I don't make him up. A speeding
New Yorker
was arrested at the entrance to the gate compound, which is home to several executives in the villages. Elvis Jorge, 35, was driving a black Honda utility vehicle at 7 p.m. Thursday when he was pulled over at the entrance of the Glen Hollow Farms on County Road 466 after he was caught on radar traveling at 65 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone, according to the Rush Department of Sumter County Sheriff's Office. A check revealed that Jorge's driver's license had been revoked due to a New York conviction for driving under the influence. He has an allowance to drive a vehicle with an interlock device. However, he admitted he was driving his wife's car, which does not have an interlock device. In addition, Jorge was arrested last year in the same area of the villages on a charge of driving while license suspended. Jorge, who is currently living at Lakeside Landings, was arrested on a charge of driving while license suspended. He was also ticketed for speeding. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. That area, that house there that you saw, that used to be the Morse family compound. Drive south on Morse Boulevard at about 5 p.m. any day, and you can expect to get caught up in heavy traffic near Lake Deaton Plaza at State Road 44. Yes, you will. It's terrible. Several times this past week, cars were backed up past the roundabout, which serves as an entry point to the popular Rohan Recreation Center. Drivers venturing south of State Road 44 have complained that they have to wait sometimes 3 and 4 cycles at the stoplight at the busy intersection. Ground was broken this past week for a long-rumored Hooters at Lake Deaton Plaza. Soon, work will begin on a massive Walmart on the south side of State Road 44 at Morse Boulevard. When those popular destinations open their doors, the traffic will surge. This past week, residents of the village of Chitty Chatty and the village of Bradford went before the Sumter County Commission to complain about heavy traffic where they live. They said they are worried about the speed and volume of traffic, and they are well aware that more traffic is in the future. This past Tuesday, a woman was flown to UF Health Shands Hospital in Gainesville for treatment of injuries suffered in a crash on State Road 44 at the entrance of Continental Country Club. A Wildwood man died as a result of a 4-car vehicle crash January 23rd on State Road 44. An Oxford man was killed and his teenage daughter was seriously injured in a crash January 17th at State Road 44 and County Road 475. Yeah, let me just tell you, we went out to dinner over there at Lake Deaton Plaza, and coming home, it must have been about that time. I didn't pay attention to time, but we're coming through there to get on Morse Boulevard at that roundabout, so we're north of 44. And I could see it was backed up over 244, across 44, down Morse Boulevard. I think it went all the way back to like Chitty Chatty entrance. I mean, it was a backup like you wouldn't believe. And they say it's like that every day. And if it is, somebody needs to take a serious look at this. How many people have to die before somebody says, you know what, we ought to fix that? Wildwood Commission is really good about taking money so they can make more money by approving all these houses. I don't care about that. That's fine. That's what they do. But it seems like the roads are always the last thing, no matter where you live, when they're building things and growing. The roads seem to be the last thing that anybody ever looks at. I don't know if it's because the city has to get involved, state has to get involved, highway department's got to get involved. I don't know what the deal is. Here's how I see it. Not my problem. That's your problem. Your elected officials are supposed to get this shit done. Okay, let's end this up with a little bit on the light side. Area residents are in for a treat as Crumbles is set to open at Trailwinds Village on County Road 466A. Crumble is a popular dessert franchise with a mission to bring friends and family together over the best desserts in the world. Crumble was founded in 2017 in Logan, Utah by Jason McGowan and Sawyer Hemsley. In just 7 years, Crumbles has grown from a humble cookie shop to the fastest growing dessert chain in the United States, with over 1,000 locations across all 50 states, plus Canada and Puerto Rico. Paul and Lorraine Van Orden moved to Florida in 2013 and met Tyler Strickland shortly after. On a faithful trip to visit loved ones in Utah, Paul fell in love with Crumble. Paul, Lauren, Tyler, and Paul's childhood friend Jay Bickmore ultimately decided to take a leap of faith and open their first Crumble location in Winter Park. The friends now all live in Central Florida and are proud to be opening their 8th Crumble store. Store hours are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays, 8 a.m. to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. The store is closed on Sundays. Well, I don't know anything about Crumbles, but they get it open over there. I'll probably partake a little bit. Okay, we have no holes in ones this week, so let's go to letters to the editor. To the editor, just got a $5.38 refund from the Sumter County tax collector, wondering how much it cost to generate the enclosed letter plus postage. This was a massive refund. Would it have been simpler to give the taxpayers a credit on next year's taxes? That's sent in by Phil Berkowitz from the village of Tamarind Grove. Well, Phil, apparently you don't watch my news. I reported this 2 or 3 weeks ago when they were talking about refunding it. And somewhere in there, you'll have to go look because I don't remember, I reported exactly how much it was going to cost to mail us our refund. And it seems to me it was over $100,000. It was like $130,000, $140,000, something like that, to mail us our refunds. I'm with you though. Mine was like $4.78. And it cost us $100,000 to mail us these pittance amount of money. They could have applied it to next year's taxes or something. I don't know. That's your tax dollars at work. Your commissioner's hard at work doing stupid shit. To the editor, do you ever wonder why the developer, with all of this real estate advertising, never mentions that there is a bond that comes with the purchase of a new house? I have been told that the village agents call it a midnight surprise since they informed the prospective buyers at the last minute. Am I the only one that wonders about this? That's what it says. Sent in by C.J. O'Neill from the village of Bel Air. Well, C.J., I got to tell you, that's totally incorrect. I've looked at 100 houses pre-owned, and I've looked at 100 houses that are new. When I used to go inside these homes and video them for you guys, I don't do it anymore. There's always a paper laying there describing the home. It's what the realtor does. Tells you the square footage, it tells you what the tax rate is on it, tells you what the insurance is on it, or the previous owner's insurance, what it costs, and it tells you how much is owed on the house as far as the bond goes. Is the bond paid for? What's the bond payment? It's all on that paper. I have never seen a home that the village has advertised that did not have all that information. Sorry, CJ, but it's not true. To the editor, in the high season, backup south of Morris Boulevard at State Road 44 occur early in the afternoons. This is the second year this has happened. They need to make it 4 lanes from the Rohan roundabout to the light of State Road 44 traffic intending to turn left or right on State Road 44 blocks traffic heading straight across 44. Elongating right and left turn lanes back to the roundabout would permit more traffic to efficiently pass through the intersection. That's sent in by Daniel Scotty, MD, from the village of Osceola Hills. Well, that might help a little bit. I don't know, but that just seems like a temporary Band-Aid on a big wound. They're not going to do anything. They're going to talk a good line, but they're not going to do anything. To the editor. I just read the letter to the editor regarding how beneficial the Social Security increases are at 2.3% this year. Doesn't touch annual inflation. Not a comparison to increased cost in the villages, and we've lived here for 20 years. You cannot afford the villages without having Social Security. Investments and pensions, or a combination. That's sent in by Ken Weber from the village of Tall Trees. I have to go along with that. I don't think I'd want to try to live here and live on Social Security alone. You got to have more than that. To live decent, comfortably. Now, you need more than just Social Security. To the editor, perhaps the amenity fee can be lowered for people who no longer use the recreational amenities. Maybe their ID card would indicate that, similar to using the RV storage area. Of course, they would still be paying a partial amenity fee for the other services we receive, i.e. gate attendance, common area maintenance, etc. That's sent in by Judy Driddendorfer from the village of Santo Domingo. Hey, Judy. You don't remember me, I'm sure, but I remember you. And you was always straight with me, and I appreciate it. Judy, I understand what you're saying, and I do kind of agree with part of that, but I don't think it's going to fly because it takes all of our monies put together to keep the fees as low as they are. And if you take other people's fees and lower them because they don't use this stuff. And I'm one of them. I don't use them either. So I should be for this, right? But I'm really not, because if I don't have to pay as much as everybody else, that means everybody else is going to have to pay a little bit more to keep the same maintenance level going. So to me, I'm going to say no to that. But I appreciate it, Judy, and glad to see your comment on here. Well, I think that's going to be the news for this week. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining. We do work very hard at the news to give you as much information as we can as some of the things that goes on around here. Most of what I do isn't all good news. I understand that. But you get enough good news from everybody else. I mean, that's all everybody ever talks about. Is it all good? No. Is it all bad? No. It's like any other town. You have good, you have bad. But nobody seems to ever want to tell you about some of the things that goes on around here, and that's what I intend to do, is let you know about everything. Whether it be tax rates going up, whether it be insurance, having a problem, roofing scams, whatever all that is, this is a daily thing. Anything I report is a daily thing. You see it every day. So it's just more information for you before you come down here and drop $500,000 on a house. I want you to know all the ins and outs of all this stuff. Otherwise, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So with that being said, be well, stay safe, stay alert, be aware, take care of your health, because in the end, like I've said, that's all you really have.
And don't leave your key in that golf cart.
This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members.